in our first lesson, we're going to look at an introduction to a few concepts. First, what is a matrix? We're also going to introduce the idea of what an augmented matrix is. We're going to introduce some concepts for row operations and also look at some terminology for solution types for different systems of equations, linear systems of equations. So let's take the first part of this. What is a matrix? And by definition, a matrix is just an array consisting of numbers called elements that are arranged in rows and columns. And this is probably best illustrated just by example. So I'll write out just a few possibilities. And then we'll talk about some terminology that goes along with these. And just one more, 9, 0, -14, and maybe 3. So we have some terminology that goes with these examples of matrices. Particularly, we talk a lot about the size, which is referred to as the dimension of our matrix. And we do this by just noting the number of rows and number of columns. So our first matrix here has 2 rows and 3 columns, so it's a 2 by 3. The dimension of the second one would be 3 by 3, having 3 rows and 3 columns. And lastly, this third one is a 1 by 3, because it has 1 row and 3 columns. So that we refer to as the dimension or size of our matrix. We can generalize our matrices just by writing out the following. This is just a notation that represents the general matrix, and it's pretty standard for us to use capital letters to denote our matrix. And you don't necessarily have to be able to reproduce this thing in any way, but again, it'll allow me to introduce a little bit of notation and definition here and terminology. And this will be AM1, this will be AM2, and this will be AMN for our general M by N matrix. And the key thing here I want to grab is just that when we refer to a particular position within a matrix, we do it by looking at the row and column. So this particular element here is in position 2, 1 because it's in second row, first column. Here you see the element in position 2, 2, so that's second row, second column, and so on. So this is just giving us some terminology and some ways that we can talk about our matrices and particular elements within those matrices. So below you'll see an example problem where you can practice this concept, and this is how generally I set up the lessons. You'll either read some text or watch a video, and then you'll have the ability to practice it quickly to see whether or not you understood that particular concept. And then there will also be homework problems throughout the text that you'll have to complete as well as part of the lesson. So go ahead and practice this and check your answer.